digital for youngsters, making them one of the largest portion of the potential markets. They're going online for everything they do. Not only shopping of your groceries, but also for transporting themselves, be that on four-wheelers such as Ola and Uber, or two-wheelers. We have the ojek style of online. There is the two-wheeler transports, walking like Ola and Uber and all that. Startups on that sense is actually making good progress. What I would like to see on the ICT model in India is for you with your innovation to actually have this device to develop on online tracking of goods or commodities, which I don't think many of Indonesian startup companies actually work on that. For example, on the goods transport delivery of something which you can work on Indonesia. I think so, and also part of the health service, for example. I understand some of your startup actually develop this sort of like health service digital platform, for example, for pregnancy, for maternity, from month 0 to month 9. And the whole process of checkup with the specialists, with the medical doctors, put it on digital recording of it and keep track on this health. That's something we haven't yet developed. You could develop such as application program in Indonesia, offer to the Indonesian government. There are things in the health service sector that we can actually do. Your Aadhaar is very much also well connected with another services, with the bank account, with many others, and even your voter registration numbers are also part of the application that should be introduced to Indonesia. We call our Aadhaar as KTP, our identity, well equipped with the digital applications. So the electronic ID is something of your model will have a market of its own in Indonesia. For sure, yeah, but local partners actually already work on this particular industry. They already have their own captive market. If you tie up with them and see how to expand the market and grow together with them, then they could guide you for sure exactly in which size and volume that you can work on that application program. Many of Indian companies working based in Singapore actually offer that kind of service. Singapore-based Indian companies on the ICT. I think dwelling time in our seaport are quite a headache with the government, so we're not quite effective in that sense because we haven't yet gone digital on the tracking and all that. Quite a market, if I may say, to put it in that way. Back in 1998, simply because of this very issue you raised, rightly so, on the corruption issue, the students was having this political rally and movement to topple down the administration. It was so corrupt. The level of corruption became academic achievement to some when they did some research. So those PhD degrees that some of the international scholars received and they earned from many universities at the cost of the corruption practice in Indonesia then for over 3 or 4 decades. Now, I wouldn't say after post-1998, the social and political movement, the corruption practically eliminated. Public pressure could actually work on it is actually minimizing it. Instead of expanding out of control with the corruption in all levels of the government, be that central government or provincial governments or district government, now it's limited into certain sectors, if I may say. I don't know if it is good news or bad news. Mining definitely is still there. Coal is one true story, but coal is not the only. Gold mining also, because we produce and we export gold. The corruption now is not going to the district or provincial level, but right direct to the central government. Remapping of the corruption now, sir. I wouldn't say proudly that we managed to eradicate or eliminate the corruption. It's very hard to tackle and combat into zero. But one good news, one piece of information, if I may say, those people working on behalf of corruption now also having and sharing a headache of their own into finding new model of corruption. Because for all templates that they're doing in the corruptions, public pressure is getting heavier on them. Now we liberalize the media. And what we call as OTT in Bahasa, Operasi Tangkap Tangan, that is on-the-spot arrest. On-the-spot arrest for name and shame, now prevailing. So this already gone to as high as ministerial level. Ministers leaving the meeting with the DG, secretaries, joint directors, everyone, and the media came and the police officers arrest on the spot, live on TV. I won't say that we managed to eradicate the public pressure as a show. You can say it's a political show. Somebody somewhere in the political leadership is playing the show. But for whatever it is, it works well to minimize, and those people working on corruption now have their own headache into producing another template and another roadmap of corrupting in the next future, if I may say so. Now, culturally speaking, the culture of giving is inherent in Indonesian culture. Until only recently we realize it is becoming a crime. Receiving something as an appreciation of a deed that you contribute to make it easier for people to do things their way, we came to realize only of recent contemporary phenomenon. It's a new Indonesia transformed. So by definition, these acts of corruption, it had been practiced for millennia, but we didn't even realize until modern concept of corruption. Now, after the 1998 social and political movement, it's getting harder for them to corrupt. I can specify and focus on mining sector, as you rightly say. But as of another lines of industry, let's say it's very minimum, it's not even relevant, because the whole, if we go to the going digital and ICT again, everything when it becomes transparent, then those people, those culprits on the corruption must devise another way of becoming outsmarting people who's outsmarting them on tackling these issues. Now it's becoming political commodities for good news and bad news, but people now enjoy real show. We call it Friday show. That is the OTT in Bahasa. We call it OTT, Operasi Tangkap Tangan. That is a live on the spot arrest by live media coverage. Even a minister leading and chairing the meeting, talking so high about doing this, reforming that and that. Boom! All of a sudden police officers with all those cameras coming directly to arrest on the spot, and we enjoyed that TV shows. I don't know if I addressed the question or not. Thank you.